Good afternoon, friends. Are you all ready to hop on to the technical sessions? Good. Friends, I have been invited to speak on role of chartered accountants in transforming India. I think this is something which is very relevant, very important for all of us, because I think as chartered accountants, and tomorrow all of you would be chartered accountants, would play a very important role in transforming our country. Having said this, let me take you through India's economic story. So as you're all aware, the government of India is keen to make India as a $5 trillion economy by the year 2024. All of us have been reading about this. The Prime Minister has been stating this in all his rallies. We are seeing it in the papers. Every government department is talking about it. But one thing is sure, India is moving from an emerging economy to an economic powerhouse. Friends, when you travel abroad, I'm sure many of you who have traveled abroad would see, when you go to a country and then you want to exchange your currency, you find that the Indian currency is not listed in any of the boards, the exchange boards that are put up. Whether you go to US, whether you go to Europe, whether you go to Africa, wherever it is, Brazil, you find that the Indian currency is not there on the conversion chart. It's only dollars that are accepted, that is only euros that are accepted. And many a times when we travel, we realize how is it our currency is not traded internationally. So what is very important for us to understand is that, yes, if this has to happen, India has to become an economic powerhouse. Only if India becomes an economic powerhouse, our currency would be traded in all the exchanges, foreign exchanges around the world. Now that the government has laid out the roadmap to see that our country becomes a $5 trillion economy, I think we as chartered accountants can play a very important role, because chartered accountants can we all say that we are partners in nation building. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has put in a lot of efforts to build this profession over the last so many years. So I am very confident that all of us put together, and all of you especially, the next gen CAs, can help transform India. Let's quickly understand, trace the timeline as to what is happening in the Indian economy. I joined the CA profession in the year 1987. I qualified in my first attempt, qualified in the year 1990. The moment I qualified, we had the Gulf War. I'm sure many of you would be aware of the Gulf War. In this particular scenario, the economy of the country was not doing well. 1990 was when the foreign exchange reserves were at the lowest. We had just revenue, we had just balances in our foreign exchange account to the extent of paying 1 month of our export bill. Many of the industries were under recession, and that is when the economic liberalization took place in the year 1990, when Mr. Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister and when Mr. Manmohan Singh was the Finance Minister of this country. They brought in a lot of measures. They ushered in liberalization. We talked about, globalization, liberalization was talked about in the year 1990. And we were all students, CA students, coming out of the profession, getting into the profession. We were all wondering whether we have got into the profession at the right time. Let me tell you, friends, it was magical. Lot of initiatives was taken by the government, policy initiatives was taken by the government, as a result of which foreign investments started pouring in. Today, if at all you have the presence of many multinational companies, it is because of the liberalization measures the government of India took in the year 1990. The domestic market started flourishing. and there was a feel-good factor in the economy in the year 1990. But from 1990 to 2010, maybe about 10 years, we could see this feel-good factor, and that is when the boom cycle ended, 2010. Then what happened? Many sectors had many challenges. Infrastructure sector had its challenges, the steel sector had its challenges. Then we had the slump in the telecom sector. And as a result of which, from 2010 to now, all of you are aware the kind of challenges our country is going through. So it's absolutely essential that a transformation is necessary, a rejig is necessary. Can we partner with the government to do a rejig of the economy so that country can get back on the fast track of economic development? This is what my presentation would be about. I think each one of us can play a role in this transformation. And the reason why I've traced this timeline for you is that you need to know the background of how our economy was year 1990, how it was in 2010, and how it is currently. When we talk about economic revolutions, I think, in CA Intermediate you have a subject where we talk about the agricultural revolution, the industrial revolution. During the agricultural revolution, the government of India took a lot of steps. Dams were built across the countries. A lot of irrigation facilities were provided to the farmers, and the entire agricultural records were streamlined. Mechanization was introduced, as a result of which all of us have studied how agricultural production in our country went up. And there was a revolution that took place in our country. Then we also saw the industrial revolution. A lot of industries started operating in India. We had the public sector taking a lead. In a city like Bangalore, we have very many successful public sector companies like HAL, BHEL, BEL, HMT. All these public sector undertakings started doing well, and even to this day, many of these public sector undertakings are generating a lot of revenue for the country. So what I mean to say, friends, is that we have seen different revolutions, and I would just like to talk about 3 revolutions which has impacted each one of us here. The first one is the IT revolution. Way back in 1990, when companies like Infosys and Wipro came to Bangalore, they were all small companies, and today they generate employment, provide employment for more than 2 to 2.5 lakh people, each of these companies, and they are globally present around the world. So the IT revolution brought in a lot of changes. We had a growing middle class having more disposable income. GDP kept increasing, and most of the Indian software companies were recognized worldwide. It threw open a lot of opportunities, especially for the engineering profession. I'm sure all of you would agree with me, in a city like Bangalore, which is flooded with engineers, there are plenty of employment opportunity, and even to this day, Bangalore is the hub for employment for software engineers. We have young engineers coming from all parts of the country to Bangalore to be a part of this IT boom that has taken place. Then again, we saw the telecom revolution. Their offerings. Today, can you live without the internet? I don't think even 10 minutes you can afford to, get away from your telephone. Those days when we used to get our CA results, you will be surprised. The CA results used to come in the Economic Times newspaper. Mr. Joman is here, he would agree with me. We used to wait for the CA results, and then many a times we used to have someone known to us in Economic Times. We used to go to Economic Times on MG Road and wait for the result. They say the results would be announced at 5 o'clock in the evening. We used to go to the Economic Times office and stand at 4. And they used to have these telex machines. The institute would announce the results, and they used to send it through telex to all the newspaper offices across the country. So we used to go there and wait in the reception and then use one of our contacts to see if we are able to find out whether we have passed or not. Then in the telex machine, once the results are announced, they used to take a printout and give it to us, and we used to search for a number. Next day morning, the results used to be carried in Economic Times. Those were the days when the results were announced in the newspapers. But today, you are able to get your results instantaneously. The moment the president signs, I think all of you are aware, after the entire process, the examination process is over, after the examination committee concludes its findings and the entire marks are tabulated and entire pass list is prepared, it comes to the president for approval, then after which it is notified. The moment the president signs, there will be one person waiting to upload it. so that you are able to get it in the next minute. You are able to see your result in the next minute. So things have changed. Telecom revolution has helped each one of us to become, what you can say, internet friendly. You're able to buy commodities on the net. You're able to buy your tie on the internet, book a holiday on the internet. You're able to bank using your mobile phones. Mobile banking has become very common. You're able to buy on any of these popular platforms, Amazon, Flipkart. You're able to book cabs on the phones. You're able to order your lunch on Swiggy or any of these platforms. So what has happened is that telecom revolution has brought in a lot of changes. We had the evolution of smartphones and lower cost data plans and the feasibility of working anytime, anywhere. You know, when we used to go for audit, we used to come back, prepare our reports. Today it's possible for you to, going for a bank audit, you're able to online submit your reports online, right? So things have changed a lot. We're all working 24/7 and we are able to access information at any point of time. You can work from any part of the country. So telecom revolution brought in a huge change in the country. And now what we are witnessing is the digital revolution. What is happening in the digital revolution? Today, internet is available to the common man. Even you go to a small village, you have internet access. The quality of connectivity and the cost has also come down. Data is moving to the cloud. Earlier, all data used to be in the servers. Companies used to have their accounting information in the servers. In your CA firm, you have the information of your client on your server, but now it is moving to the cloud. Why is it so? Because it's more cost effective. Data mining that has become very common. Companies are having too much of information available with them, volumes and volumes of information, and they want someone to mine this data and find out what is important for the organization, what is relevant for the organization. And you as chartered accountants are the best people who can help in data mining. I think no other profession can be as good as our profession to help in data mining. And we find that a lot of emerging technology, artificial intelligence, how AI has transformed our life. You go home, you want to listen to a song, you just say, can you play this song, and you have the song on your TV. So artificial intelligence has brought in a lot of change. AI will be sitting on all the tax utilities way forward. If you want to consult an expert, earlier we had to go to an expert, but way forward, if an AI tool is built on a tax tool, it's possible for you to converse with the software that you're using, and you're able to get a lot of information on the latest decisions of the High Court or the Supreme Court. Blockchain is coming in a big way. The banking sector will be implementing blockchain. Blockchain, the biggest advantage is that you will have high quality of data. It is possible for you to access data 24/7. Your quality of audits would be better than what it is happening today. We never had the concept of blockchain. We never had the concept of artificial intelligence. We never had the concept of cloud computing all those days. And all of you are extremely lucky to be a part of this digital revolution. So what is important for each one of you to keep in mind is that this will impact the way you work. Because tomorrow when you become chartered accountants, or today when you are going for your articleship training, you're able to see all these changes taking place in the client's organization. You see that they're using an ERP system. You see that data is being made available to you instantaneously. As a result of which, it is absolutely essential for you to understand that the world is changing. And as a result of the change that is taking place, every aspect of life today, from a brick and mortar selling, things are being sold online. Payments are being done on the, the digital payment gateways. Deliveries are happening in different parts of the country. And you as a chartered accountant should give an assurance to the management that everything is fine. All payments are being received for the deliveries being made. So you need to be a web trust auditor, an auditor who can give a comfort to the management to say that every transaction taking place on the internet is safe and secure. I think no other professional other than a CA can give this assurance to the management. So your role should change. You need to understand how exactly all of you should be aware of the changes taking place. And if you see the recent trends that have happened using technology, you've seen how Aadhaar has brought about a lot of change. Presence of paperless banking, contactless payments have become common. Mobile banking, you hardly see people going to the banks today. I served on the bank of Indian Overseas Bank for a period of 3 years. We realized that the traffic at the branches have reduced. We have more than 3,500 branches. We found that many of the branches did not have customers walking in. you're able to download your statements, you're able to transfer funds, you're able to do all your banking transactions on the internet. UPI, seamless option, and with Paytm and all these apps available, you're able to buy a tender coconut, you're able to buy a sandwich, you're able to buy a waffle. Anything is possible for you to, use your mobile phones and swipe the payments, or even you can hail a auto using a Paytm product. Biometric is becoming common, because today what is happening is that biometric authorization around the world is gaining popularity, and in some of the advanced countries, even immigration is happening very quickly because of this biometric authentication. You yourself can flash the passport, look at the the camera, and then you're given a ready to go ticket out of the particular immigration terminal. So a lot of changes are happening, and it's essential for each one of us to understand the changing trends and how it would impact our day-to-day functioning. Friends, coming to the accountancy sector, what's happening to the accounting services sector? It's growing very fast. The commerce space is one of the most attractive space. I can say it's more popular than science today. And when it comes to accounting, I think accounting professionals are in great demand. I said this morning also. And we say every country is looking at skilled accountants. You'll be surprised to know, I have met a lot of chartered accountants, students who have not become chartered accountants, been having successful careers abroad. Just a 3-year articleship training, having completed your intermediate, you're getting a fabulous salary in a place like Australia. So it is possible, because in a country like UK, even your IPCC is recognized. Recently the institute has got an accreditation. So if you have done your articleship training, if you have completed your IPCC, you can take a job in any of these countries. So what is happening, friends, is that lot of demand for skilled accountants in all the countries around the world. There's plenty of scope for each one of you here. And there's nothing that you have to work in Bangalore, work in India. You can choose a destination of your choice. When I went to Melbourne, when I was a president, I happened to meet a girl from Bangalore, and she spoke to me, "Sir, you Chennagidira, sir." And I asked her, "How come you know Kannada?" She said, "Sir, I am from Bangalore, and I always had a fascination to go to Australia and settle down. And I'm so happy that the CA, after becoming a chartered accountant, I got the opportunity of coming to Melbourne." So what I mean to say, friends, is that you can achieve your dream, because everyone has a desire. You have a dream. Everyone has to chase his dream. Mahendra Singh Dhoni had a dream to play in international cricket, right? He was a ticket collector. All of you have seen the movie. His father was not keen that he should get out of his job, but this guy was not happy with the job. He said, "Nothing doing, let me play international cricket." And all of us saw how he became extremely successful. So it's each one of you will have a dream, and each one of you have to chase the dream. So these are the industry 4.0 which I have already talked about, and this is changing the way accounting and professional services and mobile services are getting into a secure environment. In addition to this, friends, chartered accountants today are involved in a lot of activities. Preparation of accounts, financial statements. You should have the knowledge of punching accounts on either any of the software like SAP, Oracle, or Tally. You should know how financial statements are prepared. Even though it's a duty of the management to prepare the financial statements, as a chartered accountant, if you're getting into industry, you should know how financial statements are prepared. You should be smart in financial analysis, you should be good in payroll management, tax return preparation, direct and indirect, so you can say knowledge of direct and indirect taxes, e-accounting services, auditing under various statutes, under the Income Tax Act, under the GST Act. You should have the knowledge of under the Banking Act. It's absolutely essential for you to know under the Companies Act, have the knowledge of conducting audits under various statutes. And as I said today, chartered accountants in India are exporting their services to various countries around the world. Gone are the days where I used to cater to clients only in Bangalore. Today I have clients who are sitting in Europe, I have clients sitting in US, I'm able to bill them in dollars, I'm able to bill them in euros. The entire dynamics of the way the profession is being conducted today has undergone a change. So with this transformation, we have seen the lot of initiatives done by the government. I would not like to go much into the details. Make in India, smart cities, digital India, all this have paved way for a very prosperous and growth-oriented country. Then we have a lot of foreign companies already coming into India, either through their subsidiaries, branch offices, license offices, project offices. you might be asked to audit any of these branch offices, license offices, because any foreign business having an entity in India should get their accounts audited by a chartered accountant. Demonetization and various tax reforms like the ushering in of GST brought about a lot of change in the way the Indian economy functions. I think all of you would agree with me. GST was a game changer. Demonetization brought in the required shocks. Of course, it's debatable whether it was a good thing or a wrong thing, but it did impact the economy. But today, friends, we are all faced with the economic slowdown. What is the problem? We have seen that the second quarter economic growth has come down to 4.5. Unemployment rate has reached a new high of 8.5. And there's a lower rate of capital inadequate. Every company you are auditing, you ask them, yeah, we require funds. They're looking at funds either coming from overseas or domestic. They are having inadequate funds. Because of this, we are seeing a slowdown. The demand for products and services have gone down. All of you have been seeing in the paper. The demand for cars from July till December, every month it is sliding. All the major car dealers in the country are having a buildup of inventory. People are not buying cars. Look at flats. Plenty of unsold flats in a city like Bangalore. Infrastructure, you can say the real estate sector is not doing well. So what is really happening is that is because of the slowdown. People are holding cash to themselves and they don't want to spend. So we find that there's a collapse in private consumption and people are not ready to spend. Today it's not very difficult for you to spend. You go to a movie, then you go to the mall, you end up spending 2,000 rupees. And you pick up a good shirt or pick up a good trouser, you end up 4,000 to 5,000 rupees. So today what is happening is everyone is thinking twice. Is it a good thing to go to the mall and buy, whether it is required? So private consumption has reduced and companies have stopped investments. Let us say they want to expand, they want to invest in plant and machinery, they want to open an office abroad, or they want to set up an office in some other location in the country. They are, keeping their investment options freezed. That is because of various factors, and as a result of this, demonetization did have an impact on the Indian economy. The real estate sector did suffer very badly. The infrastructure sector did suffer badly. And we felt that demonetization did take its share of, brought its share of concerns. And as a result of which, we found that excessive debts, people started borrowing heavily from the bank. They were not able to pay on time. Funds were being diverted for non-business purposes. Today, the banks are mounting with NPAs. And having been a director on a public sector bank, I really know how the promoters borrowed money, used it for a lot of other purposes, and they've not repaid their loans on time. And in addition to this, is also a global slowdown. You just surf the net, you know there's a slowdown in the US, there's a slowdown in Europe, there's a slowdown in many other countries, as a result of which we find that the concept of globalization, which we were talking about in 1990, has now gone back. You see Trump is talking about only America, American citizens, So every prime minister is talking about protecting his countrymen. He wants his countrymen to get his jobs. So this is, against globalization. So these are some of the reasons where we saw the economic slowdown. And of course, a lot of initiatives can be taken by the government to come out of this slowdown. More government expenditure. Government should start spending more. Then lending rate should reduce. When they're lending money to the entities, SME, the bank should lend at lower rates, and they should try to bring about certainty in the business environment. The government should try to have stable policies, see that the policies are not tinkered, and try to see how best rural sector is empowered. More and more money in the hands of the rural people will encourage consumption, and that will automatically push the economy. But the fact is that there's a slowdown currently. Can we all help? Can chartered accountants help? Yes. It is our duty to see how we can be a true partner in nation building. We have been helping the government, we've been working with them very closely, and it is our duty to see how best we can help the government to counter this slowdown. And today we find that the government is taking the advice of the CA Institute. We are working with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Ministry of Finance, to see how best investments can come in, how best costs can be reduced, in various government departments. We're trying to see how we as a profession can help. And I personally believe, friends, being one of the most popular ethical profession, we can play a very positive role in seeing that the economy can bounce back. And there are some of the feel-good factors. All these are the feel-good factors I would not like to read. The kind of GST filing that have happened in the last 8 months, the digital payments, the Jan Dhan accounts, all these are the feel-good factors. But having said this, I can only say that yes, each one of us here are capable enough in helping the country to get transformed. Having said this, have you done the right choice? Yes, I think you people have done the right choice in choosing the Chartered Accountancy course. As I said in the morning, you command a lot of respect in society, plenty of opportunities, career opportunities, pay packages are very attractive. 75,000 to 1 lakh is very common for a newly qualified CA. In the campus interviews, if you've been seeing, getting 75,000 is not at all difficult. If you're smart, you can get 1.5 lakh rupees. Abroad, 3 times the salary. If you go to Dubai, you can get 3 times the salary you can get in India. And of course, you can enjoy working. Being a chartered accountant is fun to work as a CFO of a company or a director of finance or a manager of finance. It's a great opportunity. You enjoy working and you can work anywhere. As I said, you have the knowledge of IFRS. You have the knowledge of working in an ERP environment. You can work anywhere in the world. You can pick and choose a location and fly there and you can start working. And it's a secure profession. Whether there's slowdown in the economy, whether the economy is doing well, there's a lot of security for you. You will not lose your job is what I wanted to tell you, irrespective of whatever is happening in the economy. And the demand for CAs is increasing. Today we have about 280,000 CAs, but we have a demand for about 8 to 10 lakh CAs in the country. But yes, the fact is that the demand for CAs is absolutely increasing, and there's a need for us to develop good ethical values to become very popular. I will not talk about much about the CA Institute, but having been a part of the institute, second largest accounting body with 2.8 lakh chartered accountants and 7 lakh students. It works with RBI, SEBI, CNAG, IRDA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. We have been associated closely with the Ministry of Finance for the pre-budget memorandum, post-budget memorandums, in all the new amendments to the Companies Act. To the GST Act, we have contributed quite a lot, and we are continuing to partner with the Government of India. What I mean to say is that the profession is already partnering with the Government of India on various initiatives at the top level to see how best we can usher in a new India. Coming to the transformation of the economy, how is it each one of us can contribute to the economy? All of us as chartered accountants can see how the government revenue can increase. If you look into the finance minister's speeches, they're looking at raising the GST collections for the month. They want to bring it to 1,10,000 crores. They want to push up the direct taxes. The two major revenues is from direct taxes and indirect taxes. And today chartered accountants are involved in trying to help the clients to pay the taxes on time, ensure that the right taxes are computed and paid. So what is important for us is to educate the clients to comply with the tax laws, pay the right amount of taxes, pay them on time. And we can also encourage a large number of people who are not assessees to get on to the, what you can say, become assessees of the income tax assessee and pay their income tax regularly and properly. And another important thing, friends, is that there's a need for us to discover frauds also. As chartered accountants, today with specialized knowledge of forensic audit, it is possible for you to discover frauds in the entities in which you're auditing, government companies where you're auditors. And with GST being introduced, we find that a lot of revenue is being generated through indirect taxes. So it's essential that we as chartered accountants play a very positive role in helping the government to increase its revenue. Startups, startup hub. A city like Bangalore, as I told you, is a hub for a lot of startups. Can we help the startups? Can we provide end-to-end services to them? Today we find a lot of chartered accountants are involved in helping startups, providing services to them in corporate accounting, tax and legal matters. You are able to assist them in incorporating companies, managing their finance, and as a result of which we feel that each one of you present here can play a role as a mentor in encouraging the startups to become successful. All of you have seen the success stories of the startups, companies like Uber, companies like Ola. They were all startups. So today they're valued so high. So the startup ecosystem is getting mature. We have a role to play, and the ICA started a venture in Bombay where a 15-seater incubation center has been set up. Consulting, direct taxes, indirect taxes, corporate laws, we're already into it. I'm sure your principals would be guiding you on this, how we can help clients to get the best of our services and advise them on taxation, and we should continue this to the best of our ability. We should try to see that they don't get into the wrong routes, and we should see that we provide the right amount of support to them. Yes, digitization we can help in a big way. Today, a lot of technology has impacted, as I told you, the financial transaction, and the fintech explosion is where we can play a role. Financial services and technology getting together, I think we can play a very important role and ensure that we have the knowledge of various softwares that help us to, be a part of the fintech industry. Friends, corporate governance is something very important. We can play a role. Today, a lot of frauds are taking place in the country. You've seen the ILFS fraud. You've seen the DHFL fraud. You saw the Satyam fraud. You saw the fraud that took place in, the PNB, Punjab National Bank. Frauds are increasing. Every other day, you open the paper, you see there's a scam that has taken place, a corporate fraud, and you see that the chartered account is involved somewhere. I think this is something very, very dangerous for the profession. It impacts the credibility of our profession, and it's essential to see how best we can detect and prevent frauds. Tomorrow you get into the industry, it's your job to detect a fraud, your job to see that the company doesn't do any sort of fraud. So what is important is that for that you need to have good corporate governance. Companies like Infosys, as you know, a whistleblower complaint against Infosys has now put Infosys on the back foot. SEC has initiated a process of inquiring into the revenues of Infosys. SEBI has mandated an inquiry to find out whether Infosys has declared the right kind of revenues. Today, what is happening is many companies are, the whistleblower complaint against Infosys said that the company has cooked up its revenue. The results that have been reflected are not true and correct. Much of the information was not given to the management. Much of the information was not provided to the right information, not provided to the auditor. So in this era of frauds, corporate frauds taking place, corporates cooking up their figures, we can play a very important role. Let us say you're working in a company and you find that the company is fraudulent, you should be able to put your foot down and tell them what you're doing is wrong. So friends, very important that we have a big responsibility as chartered accountants to promote good corporate governance. And as I said earlier, it is our job to recognize frauds, and more so as chartered accountants, if some fraud takes place, automatically it comes to you. If you're the finance head, if you're the CFO, the first question that will be asked to you is, what is it you guys are doing? If the statutory auditor is there, if the concurrent auditor is there, then it goes to the concurrent, or what the concurrent auditor did, what the statutory auditor has done. You saw in the Satyam computer scam what really happened. Accounts were falsified, revenues were overstated, and profits were inflated. And what really happened, the share prices crashed, GDP fell, jobs of about 50,000 technocrats were at risk. And in the PNB fraud, what happened, non-integration of the bank, CBS, that is the core banking with SWIFT messages. The SWIFT messages were not integrated with CBS, and we found that the internal auditor had not reported, and the RBI inspector had not looked into it, and it shook the banking industry. A bank like Punjab National Bank going through such a huge fraud, the kind of impact, I'm sure each one of you would agree. What if there's a run on the banks? If everyone started withdrawing funds from the bank, the entire banking system would have collapsed. Luckily, the damage was PNB was able to sustain the damage. So what is very important is that we as chartered accountants should be able to detect the fraud that is taking place, and I think it is possible for us to do it. Friends, another area where we can contribute to the transformation of the nation is trying to see how best we come out with good corporate reporting. Today, companies prepare books of account, financial statements on Indian GAAP. Let us say they're listed in US, you have to prepare the financial statements on US GAAP. So you need to know corporate reporting is very important, and as chartered accountants, we can play a very important role to understand the standards, the international financial reporting standards have become very popular. And if you're able to prepare the financial reports properly, you can attract more investments, because investors, let us say a guy sitting in Japan, can understand the financial position of your company much better. So as chartered accountants, we have a role in playing in showcasing the financial accounts of our company to any other investor abroad, so we can attract a lot of investments. So what is very important, friends, is that for that you need to have the knowledge of IFRS. IFRS, we call it Ind AS, it's a part of the syllabus. And there's a need for us to go to IFRS because more than 130 countries have migrated to IFRS, and global accounting standards would be what is the way forward. This is how the big picture of IFRS is. If you have the knowledge of IFRS, You have an international opportunity, and there's a lot of chartered accountants having the knowledge of IFRS who can get attractive pay packages. If your pay package is 75, if you have specialized knowledge of IFRS, you can get a lakh of rupees a month. Today, banking sector also employs chartered accountants. It's a big way for concurring lot of work, forensic audits, concurrent audits, revenue audits, statutory audits, because today banks are lending a lot of money. Depositors are keeping their money in the banks. Banking sector is something. The Insolvency Bankruptcy Code is helping the banks to recover the NPAs. This has become a big success, and as chartered accountants, we can be effective. We can play an effective role in the insolvency and bankruptcy code as insolvency professionals. Friends, coming to the last slide, I would just like to say is that you've chosen the right course. Only thing what is left for each one of you here is that put in a lot of hard work, complete the chartered accountancy course, get a degree for yourself, decide whether you want to get into practice, whether you want to get into industry. If you want to get into practice, you can get into direct taxes, indirect taxes, you get into consulting. If you want to get into industry, you can choose a company within the country, either a multinational company or a public sector company. You want to go abroad, whole lot of nations are before you. We have 34 chapters abroad. So what is important is that you need to understand that chartered accountants are in great demand. We can all play a role in helping the country to achieve the 5 trillion economy. And chartered accountants, as I said, can help in realizing the dream of one nation, one tax, and one market. Finally, friends, what is important is that each one of you should chase your dream. I'm sure each one of us have a dream. Let me become a chartered accountant. I'm sure the dream would be different from each person. If you have a dream, you should chase the dream. You should try to see how best you work hard and try to achieve this dream. I'm very confident that all of us sitting here in this hall, all of you sitting here in this hall would become successful chartered accountants. I can say that each one of you have the ability to become chartered accountants. Only thing, you put in hard work. I wish you good luck. I wish you all the best. And whenever you feel that yes, you should contribute to the nation, you should contribute to the profession, I think the doors are open. As an individual, you can do a lot of things. Even to the nation, once you become a chartered accountant, you can help the poor, you can help the society. You'll be very influential, be very well connected. You can do a lot. I'm sure each one of you will contribute your best for the growth and development of the nation. And right now, let's try to see how we can all transform India and make it one of the most strongest economies in the world. Thank you very much.